Hello everyone, it's Johnny 𝐒𝐻𝐿, and today I'll be listening to Donda by Kanye West, at least today's release of Donda. And of course I say that because who knows if this is the final form of the album. Anyone who was around when The Life of Pablo was dropped will know that Kanye was repeatedly updating that album, making little changes. The album that you can hear today on Spotify is very much not the album you could hear on its original release date. And with this new album, Donda, he's already done 3 listening parties, I think. And each time the version of the album that's been played has been slightly different. So we really can't say if this new version is the final version, but it's the first official release of the album Donda. I'm quite excited to listen to this. This will be my very first time hearing the album. I haven't listened to any of the previous listening parties or any leaks. I actually haven't heard a single song off the album yet, so I'm pretty excited to get into it. If you enjoy the video, please consider supporting me with the link in the description to buy me a coffee. It helps me to keep the channel going, helps me to keep making these videos, so I really appreciate it. And let's get into this, starting with track 1, Donda Chant, and we'll let it go straight into the second track as well before I give you my thoughts.
Donda, 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 Donda.
God in my cells, that's my celly.
All right, what a start. It's actually so good to hear Kanye's voice again, even though it wasn't that long ago that Jesus is King came out. But I suppose because I'm quite happy with how huge this sounds, you know, the production sounds so cinematic in a way that, well, Jesus is King sounded kind of lo-fi. I almost felt like I was listening to something made on a phone half the time. But this sounds more like that classic early 2010s Kanye. When the distorted bass came in at the start, I was thinking it sounds like Yeezus. But there's almost a dark fantasy vibe about this as well. I think maybe it's the lead guitars sounding a bit like 𝐒𝐻𝐻𝐺. But just the general cinematic vibe of it, that's really what's giving me that feeling. The main sung melody is pure Kanye. It just has that great sound. And obviously when Jay-Z came in, I was pretty nicely surprised because I had heard that Jay-Z was going to be on it, but then I'd heard that he wasn't on the most recent listening party, so I was kind of expecting that he was going to be cut. So yeah, that was great to hear him. Loved the line about this could be the return of the throne. I was kind of wishing a powerful beat would come in under all these cinematic sounds while the vocals were still going, but that didn't happen, unfortunately. But a rather unusual beat did come in towards the end, which I enjoyed quite a bit. On to track 3, it's called God Breathed.
Gotta solve it all for me. Trust man, he a failure.
All right, so this song has some of that dark sound that Wash Us in the Blood had. That came out a year or 2 ago now. I loved that single when it came out. I thought it was quite underrated actually. So I'm really glad he's expanding on that sound here, I think. I feel like that song and this song both have a feeling of, they portray a fucked up world from a Christian perspective. I do find that quite intriguing. Like not just in the themes, but in the sound of it. You know, the fact that you have those beautiful choral vocals with those stabs of distorted vocal samples. I feel that he communicates what I was just saying through those sounds really effectively. The sound of Kanye's vocals on this track did give me bad flashbacks to the lo-fi sound of Jesus is King, but the overall panoramic sound is still here and sounding great. I really love the sound of those choral vocals. And once again, there was no obvious beat holding down this song, which is quite surprising. I wonder if that's going to be something in the sound of this album in general, or if he's just opening with these more loose songs. Moving on to track 4, it's called Off the Grid.
When I was in jail, I was low-key. Shout out to supporters that wrote me. Full work. I think I see Messi, and his money could never neglect me. I pray that my family would never resent me, and she feeling red.
It's so good to hear Kanye sounding cutting edge and hungry again. When this one first started, I felt like, oh, this beat is more typical compared to the previous ones. And after the last couple tracks feeling I really wanted a more heavy beat to come in. Once this one did come in, I ended up feeling kind of disappointed that it sounded more normal than the last couple tracks, which had a more unique atmosphere thanks to their floaty instrumentals. But it only took about a minute for this one to click with me. Once the bass started going crazy, I was like, oh shit, this is like a drill track. Very dark sounding, surprisingly hard. And the features were good too. I guess the only thing I would say is, considering that the beat didn't really switch up too much, maybe it went on a bit too long. I guess Kanye didn't want to edit the features down at all. But yeah, pretty cool track, and it's definitely upped the energy of the album now. Next song, track 5, is called Hurricane.
I know you won't. I was up for sale, but I couldn't tell. I know you won't.
Okay, I really enjoyed the production on that song. The basic beat had a kind of 808s and heartbreaks vibe, but the cinematic hugeness of this album continues. Lil Baby sounded really good here. He usually does over these kinds of more melancholic beats. Just suits his style, I think. And he didn't outstay his welcome, thankfully. Really enjoyed Kanye's verse. Has that classic feeling of Kanye just telling you exactly what's on his mind, what's in his thoughts. I wasn't too fussed about the Weeknd's contribution. It was okay. It was fine, but seemed a little bit meandering at times to me. Track 6 is called Praise God.
That she wrote into the night. Yeah, I'm shaking the drop. That's what the battle with Major one time. I know some white people serving no time. I got it.
All right, I really love the beat on that one. So dark with some kind of ancient atmosphere to it. I guess again, I feel like it has that Christian perspective in a fucked up world feeling. I just think that vibe is working so well for Kanye on here. Like I said earlier, following up on what he did on Wash Us in the Blood, I'm really glad he's expanding on that feeling in the music. It just works so much better for me than the more confused, joyous sound of Jesus is King. Travis Scott sounds great on this beat, just as he did on Wash Us in the Blood. Lil 𝐒𝐻, he had some good moments, some not so good ones. Maybe he let down the beat a little bit for me. On to track 7, it's called Jonah.
Who's there when I need a shoulder to can't forget? Hope they got headphones up in heaven, you can vibe out and just hit it.
And it coming right back. And when you on tour, I bet you check in.
Fight 'em all on my own.
I'm kind of mixed on that one. Surprised to hear more of that 808s and heartbreak kind of sound in the beat. It sounds pretty cool, but unfortunately I think the features kind of let this song down. I really didn't like the hook, to be honest, and by the end of the song I was pretty sick of it. But Kanye's verse was pretty nice, so that made up for it a bit. On to track 8, it's called 𝐿𝐴.
You wanna come in and play with the GOAT body? Are you rap? Sound like me.
Double cup fell to the top with the serenity juice. Moment of silence.
Okay, so this one had another one of those floaty instrumentals, which I do like. I like that it continues that general atmosphere of the album. But on the whole, I thought this song was a bit mediocre. And I have to say, did Kanye censor himself in his verse? I know he censors the features on his songs these days, but censoring himself is kind of weird, no? Like, why not just not say the words? Lil Yachty, sloppy as always, but at least he matched the vibe of the song, I suppose. And the other feature, I don't know him. It was Fivio Foreign. Didn't really do much for me. 𝐿𝐴, it's just okay. Track 9 is called Junya.
Ex-strippers, new killers, shot, tell them, Junya watching, I be on my
4-5 slums, hold up, 4-5 slums, hold up.
Go to sleep.
I don't know about this song. What's happened to the album? I felt like it started so strong, and yet the last 3 tracks just seem like sloppy messes to me. I didn't really like Kanye's flow on this one. When Playboi Carti came in, at least that was something a bit more interesting, something to switch it up. But on the whole, I could do without that song. Let's hope the next song has something a bit more substantial going on. Track 10 is called Believe What I Say.
My men and my women. People saying tweeting gonna make you die early. How bad have my heart hurting? One less sparkle to follow in my follow.
As soon as that song started, it was so nice to hear that Lauryn Hill sample. Actually, at first I thought, oh shit, is Lauryn Hill featured on this? Not quite. Just a few seconds later, I was like, no, that's a sample from Doo Wop, That Thing. Such a beautiful song, and Kanye employed it perfectly here. It was also quite refreshing to hear a song from Kanye without any features. Just a perfect Kanye West backdrop with Kanye putting down his personality on it. Pretty memorable hook. Just a great song. I'm so relieved after how mediocre the 3 tracks before it were. That song really put things back on top. Track 11 is called 24.
The devil's alive and now we've been. The devil's alive and now he's been.
So that one had more of a Jesus is King style feeling to me, with that joyous gospel grounded approach. But it was pretty well done, with some real feeling emotion in Kanye's performance. I guess I would only say that the song felt a little incomplete, which is something I would say about most of Jesus is King as well. So yeah, definitely had a feeling of his last album. Not a bad track, but maybe it just felt a little bit underwhelming compared to Believe What I Say, which was such a highlight of the album so far. So let's continue with track 12. It's called Remote Control.
Please don't ask again. Got it on remote control. Got it.
Yeah, that's right. Donkey called it. That was another song that feels to me a little bit incomplete. The hook was nice, definitely got me engaged, and Young Thug's feature was pretty interesting. Their chemistry was surprisingly good, actually. I guess I just wish they could have tied something down a bit better than just this kind of... The song felt kind of improvised to me, a bit thrown together, but still pretty cool. Next song is track 13, and it's called Moon.
I wanna go to the moon. Try and keep falling on. I'm ashamed. Hate it.
Oh, that was pretty beautiful. I like the subtle feeling of that song. There's a big presence from Kid Cudi on this one, of course, gave me memories of Kids See Ghosts. Kid Cudi and Kanye West, they always managed to bring something beautiful out of each other, and that definitely happened on this song. I guess I just wish it could have been something a bit more substantial, but it was still really nice. Next song is track 14, and it's called Heaven and Hell.
I can feel your pain now. I done bled my vein now. New level the game now. Stimulation change. No, you can't find a place to rest. No, the Lord my.
It's another one that I really wish could have been expanded on a bit more. Kanye's verse was fantastic. Loved the dark vibe. Yeah, it was a really great track. So good to hear Kanye on his epic shit again, you know, making stuff that just sounds, as I've said, so cinematic. On to track 15. It's the title track, Donda.
Forever.
The man I describe in the introduction as being so decidedly different.
Forever. Yeah. Forever. Forever.
Kanye ain't scared.
Okay, so I suppose that was, you could see it as an interlude track, focusing mostly around a recorded speech of Donda, Kanye's mum. But there was something about that, the way that only Kanye can have a song that has rising gospel vocals performed by Tony Williams and Ariana Grande. On to track 16, it's called Keep My Spirit Alive.
I'm covered in the blood, laying in the hospital when I got shot, fam. They turned me into a little Gotti.
Okay, so this one was another kind of Jesus is King style gospel inflected beat. The production on Kanye's voice was kind of bad, as it often was on Jesus is King. But I did like this beat, and the features on it were pretty nice as well. So in the end, I thought the song was pretty good. It would have fit well on Jesus is King, and I would have thought it was one of the better tracks if it was on that album. But yeah, I suppose at this point in Donda, I am feeling like this is about as inconsistent as you would expect an album that's almost 2 hours long to be. There are some songs that seem to fit really well into the mood of the album on the whole, and there are others that just seem like they come from somewhere else, and this was one of those, I think. But yeah, still not bad. Anyway, I just thought I'd give that quick overview because the next song is actually a 9-minute epic. It's called Jesus Lord.
But I'm just reaching for the stars like Buzz Lightyear. And now I'm light years ahead of those.
It's a war outside. It's like the last days of Sodom and Gomorrah outside.
Wow, well, that song certainly did not let us down. You know, when you have a song that's that long, you know it's either going to be something that's going to drag, or it's going to be something that needed to be that long, and it's going to be something huge. And this one was definitely the latter, I would say. It was a pretty brave introduction to stick on a dissonant organ chord for so long, I thought. But then once the actual beat came in, it was beautiful. And we had an excellent verse from Kanye. I would say the best one on the album so far. Full of vivid storytelling. And his flow and the constant stream of new ideas were reminding me of his also amazing verse on No More Parties in LA off The Life of Pablo. Of course, this has a very different theme, but still it has that kind of stream of consciousness, just constant different ideas being thrown out, and actually with an interesting rap flow, you know. I loved Jay Electronica's verse as well. Still haven't heard his album, you know. I used to love his Exhibit tracks back in the day when those came out. He's a great MC, and his placement on this song was perfect. Yeah, that was a fucking fantastic track. Really good. I'm hoping he can keep that level up for at least a couple more tracks. Next one is track 18. It's called New Again.
If I hit you with it last Thursday, wear a different color jersey. Every Thursday, post to me in Malibu, you make me new again. Make me new again, new again.
Okay, so the beat on this one, it kind of ruined the amazing atmosphere that the last song set up. Again, I suppose we seem to have some editing or sequencing issues. And Chris Brown sounded like complete shit, as he always does. Honestly, what's he doing here? But Kanye's verses were nice. And by the end of the song, I had kind of come around to the beat. You know, sounds pretty good. Just not entirely appropriate. Just not entirely fitting in with the feeling of the album. And you know, it's not the only song to give me that feeling, unfortunately. So I'm a bit mixed on this one. It had redeeming features though. Next one, track 19, is called Tell the Vision.
Now it's beliefs. It's beliefs for the state.
Well, that was weird. Rest in peace Pop Smoke, I suppose, but what the hell was that? The instrumental sounded like complete shit, and it seemed to have a demo recording of Pop Smoke just kind of laid over the top of it, coming in and out. That was nothing. Straight on to track 20. It's called Lord, I Need You.
Who you know spend an hour in Walgreens, huh? You know you always be my time and space is a luxury. But you came here to show that you still alive.
Oh, that was a pretty nice one. I really enjoyed the 80s sounding samples, and Kanye's verse was pretty compelling. The sung part towards the end was just okay, but overall I thought this was a good track. Felt like it would have followed on quite nicely from New Again. What a shame he had to break them up with that ridiculous... Anyway, the next song is track 21. It's called Pure Souls.
Life change when you famous. This Southside and we outside. This Southside and we outside. We gonna have to square up then. We gonna have to send it up then.
Okay, so this was another heavily organ-based track, and I thought Kanye's verse was pretty good, but I really could have done without the features on this one, to be honest. And in the end, it ended up feeling kind of bloated to me. On to track 22, it's called Come to Life.
My soul cries out.
Gotta make my mark before I'm gone. I don't wanna die alone. I don't, maybe they'd come to life. They could finally.
Alright, that was pretty beautiful. It was a very compelling track, some really heartfelt vocals from Kanye, and nice lyrics. Even some pretty memorable melody going on, which this album hasn't had a lot of, really. The movement from the organ to the piano and distorted bass of the second half was a great moment, and overall this was just a really well arranged song. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I feel like the next song is kind of the last song on the album, and then we've got 4 more tracks that all seem to be alternate versions of previous songs. They're all listed as part 2 to previous songs. That's the impression I'm getting. We'll see. But this song, track 23, it's called No Child Left Behind.
Back again, I use my back against the wall. Never caught on y'all.
He's done miracles on me. He's done.
And you see, that did feel like a last track, didn't it? Despite the very abrupt ending to the song. But yeah, you know, it was pretty nice, organ-based, more of that Jesus is King style. But I think it does work well at this point in the album. So let's finish off this mammoth album with these last 4 tracks. Track 24 is called Jail Part 2.
Man, tell them haters open up the jail. I don't know what I seen and what I was taught. My mom worked 2-3 jobs to take care of 3 of her kids. My uncle's watches. We was raised by the crack addict.
Okay, so of course at the start of this song I'm thinking this is just jail again, isn't it? I mean, it was a little while ago now that I heard the original song, but listening to this I'm just thinking this is the same song. This isn't part 2. And then DaBaby comes in with his verse and that's it. So yeah, this is just jail but with a verse from DaBaby. So it seems like Kanye couldn't decide if he wanted Jail on the album with or without a verse from DaBaby. So he just put both on the album. I don't like that. Like, shouldn't this just be a bonus track or something, or released separately? You don't need 2 versions of the same song just with a different verse on one. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. I sure hope the other 3 tracks we have left aren't all like that, but maybe they will be. Let's find out. The next song, track 25, is 𝐒𝐻𝐿 Part 2.
Take me fist off, and if you play hard, if you let me down, my knock down foot for give you right.
Yeah, so once again, it was 𝐒𝐻𝐿 again, but this time with different features. And I don't know who the features were on this version, but they were pretty good actually. This was a good version of 𝐒𝐻𝐿. But did we really need both versions on the same album? Especially when the album's already so long. I mean, come on. Track 26 is Junya Part 2.
I know the steppers are hitters. They don't do karate. I try to laminate.
Nah, I mean, Junya was not one of my favorite tracks on the album anyway. So I was not happy to have to listen to it again, to be honest, at this point. You know, I'm sure you can tell I'm pretty fed up, really, but I don't want to listen to the songs I've already heard again, but with just one verse different. No offense to Ty, I mean, the extra verse was pretty good, but nah, this is pointless. But at least the last track is a repeat of a song I did really like, possibly my favorite song on the album. So let's see what's different this time. Jesus Lord, Part 2.
They can talk about me all they want. I'ma talk to him. Some get shot in their mouth.
So that's the end of the album. And the first half of that track was, again, literally the same song. It was Jesus Lord once again. And this is an 11-minute song. So that's, even the first half is the length of a decently long song. And we were just listening to it again as part of the same album. It's bizarre. But halfway through we did get some new verses, and I did think the verse from Jadakiss was especially interesting to hear. But yeah, I mean, I just feel that it doesn't make any sense having this extra thing. As I said at the start of the video, who knows whether this is the final version of the album? And I suspect that this whole multiple versions of the same song thing won't survive. And you know, I've seen that Kanye has already posted on Instagram to say that he didn't even sign off on this as the final version of the album. It was supposedly released against his will. So that tells me that, you know, Kanye is not done with this album yet. And I do predict that these part 2s will be removed. Or in some cases, if Kanye does prefer the part 2, it may replace the standard version of the track. But leaving both on, it just makes no fucking sense. Not to mention, as I said, it just drags out an already long album and means it ends in a really unsatisfying way. So I think this album has some very clear highlights, some huge cinematic thrilling moments. Unfortunately, it also has some weaker moments and some downright baffling decisions. I wasn't really sure what to expect from this album. As I said, I didn't hear any leaks or singles or anything. But when in some of the earlier tracks we got a bit of that wash us in the blood sound that I really like, I was pretty excited by that concept, as I said. But it ended up being something that only appeared on the album intermittently. Now, thankfully, there were instead some moments of real beauty energy on the album, which at times blew me away in the way that only Kanye can do. But the album is just bloated beyond belief. I mean, obviously it's going to get comparisons to The Life of Pablo for that. And just like with that album, I end up feeling that if only the most compelling and consistent tracks were included, this could be an incredible album. And you know, it'll be interesting to see how the album grows on me, if some of those better tracks do become even more meaningful for me. But on first listen, it's just kind of jarring to hear moments of such transcendence side by side with some of the most confounding decisions we've heard Kanye make on an album. I did get a lot of enjoyment from this, but I do feel it could be so much better. Whether or not Kanye actually goes into this and makes those necessary repairs remains to be seen. But as it is, this is a strange album, but I'm glad we finally got it, and I did mostly enjoy the experience of listening to it. Kanye continues to be one of the greatest artists of our generation, and we're always going to be excited to hear whatever he puts out, even if at times we wish he could make things make a bit more sense. Anyway, please do me a favor and click the like button on this video. And if you enjoyed it, please do consider supporting me with the Buy Me a Coffee link in the description. Leave a comment down below to let me know what you thought of the album and let me know what you think of my review. And thank you very much for watching. Until next time, take it easy.